What is up, guys? Welcome to the Pouring Into Yourself podcast. I'm your host, Maya Angelique Wallace, and welcome to the ultimate safe space for self-care. If you all are new to this channel, hello, welcome to episode 2 of today's podcast. If you guys haven't checked out episode 1 of just the introduction of my new podcast, Pouring Into Yourself, you guys can click down below. And if you guys are listening on Spotify, it will also be linked in the description box for you guys to check out. But welcome back to the episode. I am so excited to be back on this podcast. I cannot believe that it is episode 2 already. It is wild to me. To be fully transparent, I just got off of my 9-to-5 job. So I got all settled in, and I, for a minute, was going to just procrastinate and film this video the day of posting, but I really want to remain consistent, and to remain consistent means that you really have to make sure that you show up for people that are really watching your channel. So thank you all so much for tuning in for those who are watching. And again, you can listen on Spotify. And yeah, I am so excited for today's topic, and let's hop right into it. If you guys are here, the title says it all. We're going to be talking about community and how important it is to have that community around you. I feel like this topic is just not spoken about enough. It is spoken about, but it's promoted enough to be able to say that it is known that we need a community to thrive. We need a community to be able to be where we are as human beings. And I think that this topic is so important, and I hope that this will allow people to understand that we are, number one, not made to be alone. That is number one. We're not made to be alone, especially as Christians. God literally has in the word that I'm going to be speaking about once we get more deeper into the topic, that we are not made to be alone. We are made to have a community. And the reason why this topic is, to me, very confrontational among my generation, among people that are younger than me, older than me, is because it's a topic that revolves around being around others. And as much as we always, like to hang out with our friends, like to hang out with our, church members or whatever clubs that you guys are in, it also is just very difficult to be able to say that this community is made for me to be able to grow, or I use this community for me to be able to have those connections with others, because in this day and time, I feel like people just always like to say it is okay to be solo. It's okay not to have friends. It's okay to be able to be by yourself 24/7. You don't need to have that community outlook on your life. And that is not true. We need a community. And I want to be able to dig deep into this topic, because I feel like that is something that has helped me overcome a lot of my challenges that I've had over time of me getting older. And, obviously it's just something that we need to learn and how to build that community. Because I think that is what's important, is first of all, how do you build that community, and how do you stick with that community? And also, what does that even mean to have a community? I think those are the 3 main topics that will really help individuals understand what I mean by building a community. Number one, first and foremost, when it comes to this society, I feel like there has just been a lot of changes, especially after COVID-19, when the pandemic happened, when everything was online, on Zoom, and people were not interacting with others anymore. I noticed that there was a shift in how we communicate with others. And as someone who has graduated with communications, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't see the change. I definitely see the change in how we communicate with one another. I mean, even down to when I was in college, everybody's on their phones, everybody's looking down, no one's looking up anymore, and everybody's just kind of in their own world. And it is okay in certain moments, but I feel like it's so consistent that sometimes we're afraid to talk to other people. Sometimes we're afraid to put ourselves out there, or to say, hello, how are you doing today? Or something like that. I feel like that's just how things have changed post-pandemic. And, before the pandemic, I was in high school. Obviously, I've spoken about this on my channel before, that high school was not my best era. I always say college was my best era. I never liked high school, but I can say that high school did have a lot more interactions for me than I definitely had, when I was in college, obviously. So definitely there was that social aspect to that. And I had friends that were in college back in 2017 through 2019, and they have even said there was more of a social aspect to campus life because people were not chronically just online all the time. Like, people were actually wanting to interact with people. So, I definitely think the change of that has happened because of COVID and just because of other factors of, things becoming more digital, obviously. But, what I think is important when I say that we need a community is we need to have one another, in this world where it is so evil, where people are, not always there for your best interest. It can be challenging to understand how to find those people. But we also need to know that those people are out there and that we do have to take the time to figure out, how can we grow with these people. When, I was in college, I definitely am not going to say that I was a very popular person. No one ever knew me. The only reason why they knew me was because I had certain jobs that require people to know me. But, other than that, I wasn't the face of the school. I wasn't popular, nothing like that. Like, I had two amazing, great best friends that I still talk to this day. I have my other friends that I talk to this day from that school. But other than that, I don't have 50,000 friends. And you don't need 50,000 friends to have that community. But during my hardest hardships that I had during college, post-grad, those friends were there for me. Every single one that I've met at my college that I attended were there for me through the situations that I was overcoming. And the battles that I had to overcome during that period of time, I could have not done that by myself, number one. Number one, I could have not fought the battles that I had to go through to see the light at the end of that tunnel by myself. The mentorship, the pouring into me, the, it's going to be okay talks, like things like that really did help me thrive. And it's not to say that you need to have someone constantly holding your hand, telling you, you got this, keep going. But sometimes you just need a little bit of a push to allow you to know that you do have people by your side to help you get to where you need to go, to help you see that there is more to life than what you're going through. And that is something that my friends have taught me every day, is like, no matter what hardships that come with life, there's always going to be a good ending to that, as long as you believe in that. Now, if you believe your life is going to be negative all day long and that you're not going to have this life that you dreamed of, that you want to have, you're not going to have it, because you're speaking negativity into the life that you believe that you're supposed to have. And that is not what we should be thinking. Like, we should be thinking that we're going to have this, we're going to be able to pour into others through this, we're going to be able to have an experience that is going to be able to be motivational and be able to be empowering through whatever skills and tasks that you have. And that's something that is very important to remember. And so, that's the little ounce of community that can really help you with anything you go through. I was doing some research and I noticed that, in our generation, there's so many young adults, teenagers that are extremely depressed, very, very depressed. And I've spoken about my mental health all the time, and I'm very vulnerable about my mental health. When I was in college, my first year living on campus ever, I experienced a lot of mental health moments of sadness, of depression, and things like that, because I didn't have a community at all at the place that I was at the time. And it was really hard. I felt lonely. I felt isolated. And, if you guys know my background a little bit, I attended a junior college at first where I got my associates, and that school was amazing. I graduated as valedictorian, and then I transferred to a Christian college where that's the part where I got super depressed. I felt lonely. I didn't trust God anymore. I said, God, whatever, like, you're not real. Like, I was saying some crazy stuff in my mouth that I just didn't want to believe in God anymore because I was just so low. And then I transferred to the current college that I attended, that I graduated with my bachelor's from, that actually I did have a good experience with as a student. And during that time at that Christian school that I went to, like, I definitely crave that community. I craved it so much, and I just didn't have it at the time. And it was really hard. And so, that definitely has shown me how much it is to have those people around you. And, it's hard nowadays to find those consistent people in your life. But the friendships that I have now, that I have made around 3-4 years ago, that was not something that happened overnight. Like, to find good connections, it took me literally almost to the end of my college career to find really good friends, because there was so much growth that we all had to do together. And we're still doing together, because I'm 24. I'm still young. I'm still learning who I am. Like, it's not that I'm just, I know what I'm doing with my life. Like, absolutely not. Like, I'm still learning who I am, but it is so important to be able to just have others there for you, to be able to pour into you, and for you to pour back into them as well. Having that community is going to come. And I just think that we need to speak about it more. And we need to be able to know that we are not made to be alone. Now, the topic that I want to bring out, that I think will be a little bit biased on my end, maybe not to others, but I think it's important to bring awareness to. I am a girl that is on Instagram all the time. Like, I'm trying to build my platform on Instagram more, promoting my videos on Instagram. I am on Instagram. I'm chronically online. That's what I am right now. But my For You page currently, and it's kind of crazy because it's been my topic today, is I see so many videos of people making content of like, here's a day in the life of not having any friends, and that's okay. You don't need people to live your life. You can just, be by yourself all day long and do what you got to do. And as luxury as that sounds, it is not how we're supposed to live life. And then I see those videos of people having lifelong friendships that they had to cut ties with. And it does suck. It's hard to be able to say that and to be public with it. And then, it's hard to recover from that. And then you feel like, oh, I can never make a friend again. And it's just, I just don't want people to feel that they have to be isolated to recover, because that's not always the case. You don't have, and I want people to write this down. You do not have to be isolated to recover. You do not have to. Actually, like, knowledge-wise, book-wise, it says if you are struggling with anything, you need to call someone. You need to let someone know, hey, I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with, my job or my finances or life, college, whatever. Like, you need to talk to someone that you trust, that will be there and help you and not talk crap about you, because, we don't want that. We don't need that. And again, it's a trial and error. You never know these days, if someone's going to have good intentions, but it's important to be able to know that you have to open yourself up to be able to find those people. You can't stay shut up and silent for their whole life. You're wasting your life by doing that. So I want to read this Bible verse that talks about having a community and talks about how we need each other to be able to thrive. And I'm going to read out of Ecclesiastes, and it's going to be chapter 4, verse 9. And it says, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But whom to him that is alone, when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. And obviously that pretty much means that you have people that will help you overcome what you're going through, that you will have individuals that will be there to pick you back up when you feel like you can't get back up on your own. And if you're alone and you're struggling and you have so many thoughts going on in your head of like, you don't know what your plan is of life, you're not going to have anybody to pick you back up. You're going to just sit in those thoughts for forever, and you're never going to know how to get over it. And it's really hard. And obviously, it doesn't have to always be people that you can talk to. there's God that you can talk to. That's number one. God wants you to talk to him. And I know it can be hard too, because sometimes we feel like we don't always get a quick answer, but he is listening to us and he wants us to be able to talk to him. We don't have to sit formally and pray. We can be ourselves in our pajamas and lay in our bed and be like, God, what's up? What's God? Seriously, this is crazy. Like, God, please. Like, when I was going through it last year with my situation, I was screaming at God. I literally would be in my car and I would scream. I'd be like, God, what the heck? This is crazy. You don't like me? Is this what you want me to go? Like, I would be so upset. And literally I would like just cry to God and be like, God, like, I don't want to do this right now. Like, and I would sit there and I'd be like, Maya, you're so crazy. Like, God is not hearing me right now. Like, what is going on? But he listened. And the more and more that I talked to him about what I was going through, the more I could see the light at the end of that tunnel to where I am now, at a way better job, in my own apartment, better finances, and being able to thrive the way that I need to thrive, able to give the gift that he wants me to give. That ultimately is my goal. And so, I'm not gonna say that I didn't have my moments where I had a hard time finding a community. I had my moments where I was upset with God. And it definitely has its phases where you are going to have moments where you get upset, but you need to, again, find that way, find those people to help you navigate that time, because that is what's going to be so important. Just recently, I started to go back to church. I haven't been to church since I left the Virginia Beach area, and I decided to go to a church that was very close to where I work. And I was super nervous because I was like, I don't want to go back. Like, I feel like it might be, cliquey, or I might not find, that community. And so I went, and first of all, that church was amazing. I remember I went up to the altar and I got prayed for, and I just cried and cried about everything that I wanted to release from the tension that I had from last month. And, being able to just have that individual just pray for me and then speak to me, which I know was God, because she was speaking too much truth in what she was saying. And it was like, she didn't even know me. And it was literally God speaking through her. And I ended up going to a young adults group, and that was amazing. That was just a great way to fellowship with others that are my age, that are like-minded in Christ, and, being able to have that community. And I was able to be a part of something bigger than what I thought that I would ever think to be a part of. So, I'm also learning how to find that community. I'm also learning how to get out of my comfort zone and feel like I don't have to just be alone all the time and not have to talk to anybody after work, because trust me, I yap a lot at work. Like, I have to yap a lot at work, and sometimes you just really don't want to talk to people. But, I just don't want people to create a habit where they feel like they always have to be alone. Like, you never have to be alone. God, number one, is with you all the time. All the time, God is always with you. And number two, please get into a good church. Number one, find a good community at a church, find a good community at a local organization, a local club that, has good charities. Find something that you can see yourself fulfilled and thrive in. And I want you to take this video as inspiration to know that there's nothing wrong with being alone, but don't make that a habit that you should be alone for the rest of your life. Please find that community, and please, please, please just know that you are loved. And if you are watching this and if you're going through something and you don't know where to start, first of all, know that I am an open book. If you ever want to chat with me on my DMs and send me a message and you need somebody to pray for you, just let me know. I'm more than happy to do that. And also, again, just really get into the word and understand what God has planned for you. Make vision boards. Do what you have to do to feel encouraged throughout the day. Because what people shouldn't feel like is that they work these 9-to-5 jobs and feel like, okay, that's my purpose. Like, that's all I have to do. I just work a 9-to-5 job and that's the rest of my life. Like, no, there's so much more to life to give than working all day long. Like, you have so much to give. Like, I filmed this video after I worked 8-hour shifts, and I still set up my camera. I have my comfy, my work clothes are still on. I changed my pants, but there is always time in the day to pour into yourself. And I want you to remember that for a long time, and just know that it is not impossible to be able to find those group of people that will love and support you. So that is the end of today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video of building that community. And obviously, if you guys like this channel, be sure to subscribe to my main channel, which is my Angelique, and also subscribe to my podcast channel, which is obviously Pouring Into Yourself podcast, and just continue watching my videos and supporting the channel. And I'm so glad you guys clicked on this video today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys super soon with a new video. And remember that you cannot pour into yourself on an empty cup. I love you guys so much, and we'll talk so soon. Mwah.